and welcome to 5 Minutes French Grammar Fixes. Bonjour et bienvenue à 5 Minutes French Grammar Fixes. Today we're going to talk about the most common types of verbs in French and how they change in the present tense. First of all, let's just recap what a verb is. A verb is usually a doing word. I play tennis, we eat a lot of vegetables, she likes rap music, but sometimes it's not as obvious as that. When you say, I am French, am is a verb. When you say she has lots of friends, has is a verb too. A dictionary will always tell you what type of word the one you're looking up is. So if you look at to dance, for example, you can see that there is a V next to the word to indicate that it is a verb. The second thing that we need to look at is tenses. So for example, when I say I play tennis, play is a present tense. Whereas if I had said I played tennis, that would be a past tense. Same thing with I am French. Am is the present tense of the verb to be. Whereas if I say I will be French when I grow up, I will be is the future tense of to be. The third thing that you need to be aware of is that unfortunately French verbs are a lot more complicated than English verbs. Think of French people. They like fashion. They like to wear different clothes and accessories. They like their clothes to match, black hat, black skirt, white top, white shoes, etc. French verbs are just like that. They look different depending on their tense, not on the weather, and of course, depending on the person, they look different. Let's have a look at the most common type of French verb, a verb that ends in ER in its infinitive form. And remember, the infinitive form is what the verb looks like in the dictionary. So in English, the word to is your equivalent of these two letters at the end of the verb. To dance, danser, ER. Just like you would not say or write I to dance, rock and roll, you would not write or say je danse rock and roll. Certainly not. So I dance is je danse. We're going to have a look at that now. In English, a verb in the present tense is very easy for French students to learn because basically, whether you're saying I, you, we, you will be saying dance. I dance, you dance, we dance, etc. The only one which is slightly different is for he or she because you say he or she dances. Well, in French, you need to change the ending of your verb depending on whether you use I, you, he, etc. It's always different. So this is what happens with the verb jouer, to play. First of all, you remove the ER at the end of your French verb and you add the following endings. So you can see that for je, you add an I, for tu, you add an es, etc. Now, you must know these endings by heart and also their pronunciation. So I'm going to say them for you so that you can hear that in fact those last letters are not always sounded. So it goes je joue, tu joues, il, elle, on joue, nous jouons, vous jouez, il ou elle joue. Now, did you notice that for je, tu, il, and il with an S or elle with an S, that is the same joue sound, okay? Whether it's an I or an ES or ENT, it's particularly important for the ENT one, okay? A lot of people make mistakes and try to pronounce it differently. It's not sounded effectively. So il ou elle with an S, joue. Now, this is a general rule and it applies to a lot of French ER verbs. However, there are always lots of exceptions to the rule in French and therefore quite a few irregular verbs. You will need to know these common irregular verbs by heart in all their forms. But as you learn more, you will notice that there are similarities in the endings of these irregular verbs. And knowing the endings that we've just discussed will help you. One little tip I have for you is that when you use to, followed by a verb in the present tense, when you use to, the last letter of the verb will always be an S, which is not sounded, by the way. So, for instance, when you want to say to have, you have, tu as, and do not sound that S. Or tu fais du karaté, again, no sounding of that S at the end of fait. And if you are using nous, your verb will nearly always end in ons, pronounce on. Nous avons, nous faisons du karaté. So this is your French present tense. To know more about the present tense, you need to check my 5 minutes French grammar fixes for present tense of IR verbs, and also my 5 minutes French grammar fixes present tense for RE verbs. There are 3 types of verbs in French, and they follow slightly different rules.